Hey friends, it's Lethea from Farmview Creators. Today we're going to work on these super cute spring mini hanger signs. They come in a set of 4 from the Rust Covered Cottage by Christina. They are very cute, very dimensional, lots of layers. So I'm just kind of putting them on my board, not necessarily categorizing them by color because I had no idea what I was doing at this point, but I did categorize them by which hanger they went on. So I decided to use Paint Couture's Autumn Sage chalk style paint for the St. Patrick's Day banner. And I'm using mineral acrylic from Paint Couture in Vera at the Ballet for the Valentine banner. And then I used Coral Passion, forgot the name of the color for a minute, for the Easter Bunny. And then, oh my word, I love this gemstone luxe metallic shade for the Hello Spring. Just going back through, putting a second layer on everything just so that my paint is nice and even, especially on those scallop edges. I had to, brush over it a little bit extra. Now I'm moving on to all the little dimensional pieces, and I'm going to use my ombre nail sponge set for this just because there's lots of small pieces. And I am using a heavy metallic called I think it's pure gold, no, French gold, sorry, for my Lucky. And then I was just trying to figure out which blues I wanted to use on my Easter Bunny, and I knew I wanted to use Spanish Sunrise. These are mineral acrylics. The red is Cardinal Red, and it is another luxe metallic. So the egg I did in a new color that I just got called Queen's Court. And then the bow tie is in Sophia. I thought they were, very nicely complementary. And then those words that I didn't realize you couldn't see all of, the Hello Spring, I used my little sponge to paint them with Sugarplum, which is a really, really, really pretty pink purplish. That paint that I just did on the heart is another luxe metallic called Love Struck, and it is gorgeous. It has a shimmer of gold to it. A lot of the luxe metallics, you can't really tell that it has another shimmer to it. Just looks like shiny bits of that same color, but this one is shimmery gold. For my whitish color, I am using buttercream in the chalk style paint from Paint Couture. Again, even on some of those larger areas, I decided to brush with my little sponge, and then I'm going to scrape out some of the pieces on the bunny's face, the whiskers and the little nose. And then I am going to paint his nose with Vera at the Ballet, and I'm using just a very fine tipped brush and filling in his little ears to make them more dimensional and just kind of tie it all together. Using the end of that brush with some Spanish Sunrise for the middle part of the daisies. And then I could not decide what green I wanted to do the shamrock, so I finally went with Evergreen, which is just a gorgeous, gorgeous deep green. And again, I am brushing it on with my little sponge. Even though it is a larger area, it makes it where I don't have to wash out so many brushes. I just wash out those tiny little sponges. I got my kit off of Amazon, and I will link that in, and I'll also link in this dotting tool set. So each of those sticks has 2 different ends with 2 different size dots, and I'm using my buttercream on 3 of the backgrounds to add dots. I'm just into dots right this second. But I did do different spreads of them. Like some of them are closer, some of them are farther apart. They're different sizes and whatnot, just to, give it some more pizzazz, I guess. But I will link that in. And with the ombre sponges, you can get a refill set of just sponges if you don't want to have a bunch of the metal pieces. I think I want to get at least one more of those metal pieces though. The metal handles. For the St. Patrick's Day banner, I decided to go in and do my dots with Evergreen, and I was not a perfectionist with these at all. I have a tendency to let that get in the way of my flow sometimes. And so I worked really hard not to allow that, and I really love how it turned out. So that just proves that you don't have to be a perfectionist. I did let those dry for a really long time before I came in to distress because I'm notorious for smearing my dots. Did not want to do that, but I'm using my Debi's DIY dark wax and a stenciling brush to brush that on. I used a larger brush on the backboards, a smaller brush on these little pieces. I just love how it gives it that aged look. And then of course I'm going over all of these pieces with my dead flat top coat. Takes out all the shine except on those metallics. They are still super, super shiny. And it even gives it more contrast with the extreme matte of the other colors. Just building up all of my layered pieces here. I like to get all of those pieces lined up before I try to put them on the backboard, especially like the St. Patrick's Day one did not have score lines of where to put the clover, so I could turn it any way I wanted. So I wanted to see how the words were on it and all that stuff before I put that down. And I like to kind of tilt it to the side and everything. And then moving on to the Valentine's Day. That one also did not have score lines, or did it? I can't remember. It may have. I honestly can't remember. And then just piecing all of those together. I love, love, love how they're pulling together. And those daisies are so stinking cute. Oh, just adorable. Then I'm going to use the jute that Christina always has this beautiful package when you open up your box or your mailer, and it's always tied in a cute little piece of jute with a little prize in there too. So I just cut that jute that she had on this package into 4 pieces, and I'm going to hang them on my elegant signpost. And there you can see all of them and each individual one on the signpost. Can't wait to display them in my home. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.